Chapter 16 of Once on a Time. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Once on a Time by A. Milne. Chapter 16. Belvane Enjoys Herself. The entrance of an attendant into his room that morning to bring him his early bran mash had awakened Udo. As soon as she was gone he jumped up, shook the straw from himself, and said in a very passion of longing,
"Bo, boll, bill, boll, woe, wool, will, wool."
He felt it was his last chance. Exhausted by his effort, he fell back on the straw and dropped asleep again. It was nearly an hour later that he became properly awake. Into his feelings I shall not enter at any length. I leave that to Roger Scurvilegs. Between ourselves, Roger is a bit of a snob. The degradation to a Prince of Araby to be turned into an animal so ludicrous, the delight of a Prince of Araby at regaining his own form, it is this that he chiefly dwells upon. Really, I think you or I would have been equally delighted. I am sure we can guess how Udo felt about it. He strutted about the room. He gazed at himself in every glass. He held out his hand to an imaginary hyacinth with,
"Ah, dear Princess, and how are we this morning?"
Never had he felt so handsome and so sure of himself. It was in the middle of one of his pirouettings that he caught sight of the unfortunate bran mash, and uttered the remarkable words which I have already recorded. The actual meeting with Hyacinth was even better than he had expected. Hardly able to believe that it was true, she seized his hands impulsively and cried,
"Oh, Prince Udo! Oh, my dear, I am so glad!"
Udo twirled his moustache and felt a very gay dog indeed. At breakfast, where Udo did himself extremely well, they discussed plans. The first thing was to summon the Countess into their presence. An attendant was sent to fetch her.
"If you would like me to conduct the interview,"
said Udo,
"I've no doubt that—"
"I think I shall be all right now that you are with me. I shan't feel so afraid of her now."
The attendant came in again.
"Her ladyship is not yet down, your Royal Highness."
"Tell her that I wish to see her directly she is down,"
said the princess. The attendant withdrew.
"You were telling me about this army of hers,"
said Udo.
"One of my ideas, I had a good many while I was, in retirement, was that she could establish the army properly at her own expense, and that she herself should be perpetual orderly sergeant."
"Isn't that a nice thing to be?"
asked Hyacinth innocently.
"It's a horrible thing to be. Another of my ideas was that—"
The attendant came in again.
"Her ladyship is a little indisposed, and is staying in bed for the present."
"Oh. Did her ladyship say when she thought of getting up?"
"Her ladyship didn't seem to think of getting up at all today. Her ladyship told me to say that she didn't seem to know when she'd get up again."
The attendant withdrew, and Hyacinth and Udo, standing together in a corner, discussed the matter anxiously.
"I don't quite see what we can do,"
said Hyacinth.
"We can't pull her out of bed. Besides, she may really be ill. Supposing she stays there forever?"
"Of course,"
said Udo,
"it would be rather—
You see, if we
might possibly—"
"Good morning, all,"
said Belvane, sweeping into the room. She dropped a profound curtsy to the princess.
"Your Royal Highness, and dear Prince Udo looking his own charming self again."
She had made a superb toilet. In her flowing gold brocade, cut square in front to reveal the whitest of necks, with her black hair falling in 2 braids to her knees and twined with pearls which were caught up in loops at her waist, she looked indeed a queen, while Hyacinth and Udo, taken utterly by surprise, seemed to be 2 conspirators whom she had caught in the act of plotting against her.
I thought you weren't well, Countess,"
said Hyacinth, trying to recover herself.
"I not well!"
cried Belvane, clasping her hands to her breast.
"I thought it was his Royal Highness who— but he's looking a true prince now."
She turned her eyes upon him, and there was in that look so much of admiration, humour, appeal, impudence, I don't know what, and Roger cannot tell us either, that Udo forgot entirely what he was going to say, and could only gaze at her in wonder. Her mere entry dazzled him. There is no knowing with a woman like Belvane, and I believe she had purposely kept herself plain during those last few days, so that she might have the weapon of her beauty to fall back upon in case anything went wrong. Things had indeed gone wrong. Udo had become a man again, and it was against the man that this last weapon was directed. Udo himself was only too ready. The fact that he was once more attractive to women meant as much as anything to him. To have been attractive to Hyacinth would have contented most of us, but Udo felt a little uncomfortable with her. He could not forget the last few days, nor the fact that he had once been an object of pity to her. Now Belvane had not pitied him. Hyacinth had got control of herself by this time.
"Enough of this, Countess,"
she said with dignity.
"We have not forgotten the treason which you were plotting against the state. We have not forgotten your base attack upon our guest, Prince Udo. I order you now to remain within the confines of the palace until we shall have decided what to do with you. You may leave us."
Belvane dropped her eyes meekly.
I am at your Royal Highness's commands. I shall be in my garden when your Royal Highness wants me.
She raised her eyes, gave one fleeting glance to Prince Udo, and withdrew.
"A hateful woman,"
said Hyacinth.
"What shall we do with her?"
I think,
said Udo,
that I had better speak to her seriously first. I have no doubt that I can drag from her the truth of her conspiracy against you. There may be others in it, in which case we shall have to proceed with caution. On the other hand, it may be just misplaced zeal on her part, in which case—
Was it misplaced zeal which made her turn you into a—
Udo held up his hand hastily.
I have not forgotten that,
he said.
Be sure I shall exact full reparation. Let me see, which is the way to her garden?
Hyacinth did not know quite what to make of her guest. At the moment when she first saw him in his proper form, the improvement on his late appearance had been so marked that he had seemed almost the handsome young prince of her dreams. Every minute after that had detracted from him. His face was too heavy, his manner was too pompous. One of these days he would be too fat. Moreover, he was just a little too sure of his position in her house. She had wanted his help, but she did not want so much of it as she seemed to be likely to get. Udo, feeling that it was going to be a rather nice day, went into Belvane's garden. He had been there once before. It seemed to him a very much prettier garden this morning, and the woman, who was again waiting him, much more desirable. Belvane made room for him on the seat next to her.
This is where I sit when I write my poetry,
she said.
I don't know if your Royal Highness is fond of poetry.
Extremely,
said Udo.
I have never actually written any, or indeed read much, but I have a great admiration for those who, admire it. But it was not to talk about poetry that I came out here, Countess.
No?
said Belvane.
But your Royal Highness must have read the works of Sacharino, the famous bard of Araby.
Sacharino, of course. Blood for something, something, he who something. I mean, it's a delightful little thing. Everybody knows it. But it was to talk about something very different that I—
Blood for blood, and shoon for shoon. He who runs may read my rune,
quoted Belvane softly.
It is perhaps Sacharino's most perfect gem.
That's it!
cried Udo excitedly.
I knew it, if only I could—
He broke off suddenly, remembering the circumstances in which he had wanted it. He coughed importantly, and explained for the third time that he had not come to talk to her about poetry.
But, of course, I think his most noble poem of all,
went on Belvane, apparently misunderstanding him,
is the ode to your Royal Highness upon your coming of age. Let me see, how does it begin? Prince Udo, so dashing and bold, is apparently 18 years old. It is 18 years since this wonderful prince